Yo homes, welcome back to the channel Zach's Cops, and today I will explain you how we did the branding and packaging for a global luxury modest fashion brand. Hope that will help you in some project of yours or for your own brand. So the company here is House of THL. As I mentioned, it's a global luxury fashion brand, and it focuses on modesty. Like they have the tagline "Lead with Femininity." It's targeted to the modest kind of women who are not into showing skin and all. The thing they're trying to target is that like you don't have to be sexy or a little flamboyant to be fashionable. You can be covered and still be fashionable. You may or may not have to agree with the brand, but when you're doing the branding for such a brand, you have to keep that in mind and the target audience. And sorry about that. Okay, so we start with a few keywords that will dictate the branding and the packaging process. By the way, in this case, we didn't do the logo. They already had the logo done by some other people. I don't have the details of who did it, or I would share with you otherwise. And coming to the keywords, there are 8, like tradition, the global, the focus on empowerment, a leadership value in women. But the main 4 pillars are modesty, femininity, luxury, and passion. Having keywords is useful because it simplifies the brief and the target audience and helps you in the design process. This is the brief, but I already told you what the brief is. So, and then we move on to mood board based on brief. A mood board is a collection of moods in terms of creatives that are not necessarily done by you. As in this mood board, none of this is done by us. It's done by other creative agencies, etc. It's a collection that goes well with the brief, the keywords, and the target audience. What the mood board does is it helps your client to understand the direction you're going towards and help you understand what the client wants without actually designing something. It simplifies the process. It helps you skip a few steps, a few iterations, and it gives a clearer direction for both you and your client. So mood board is pretty useful. And this also acts as kind of inspiration for your design process, so you don't have to go look for inspirations and motivations again and again. You already have a few that you can look up to. Then comes the color palette. We start with the color palette because that dictates everything. Like everything has color, and you need to have a consistent palette for the brand to feel like everything is from a single brand. And in this case, the color palette is gold and green, and some foils and some other shades of gold and green. The gold and green is chosen to represent luxury and passion. Gold signifies with luxury and passion, and the gold and the green on the other hand gives the feel of organic and a bit of modesty, especially the dark green has a modest type, does not flamboyant, which goes well with this brand because that's what they're doing. And as I said, since they already have the logo, the gold is directly selected from the logo itself. The green is selected by us because the logo doesn't have a green on it. And we chose to have gold and silver foils, primarily gold foil, because foils and the glow of a foil amplifies the significance, amplifies the concept of luxury, emphasized concept of being a premium feel to a design. And since they are a luxury brand, having the premium feel is important. That's how we compile the color palette, the brand palette. And brand elements, this is not applicable to every brand, and what a brand element can be depends a lot on the brand and the logo of the brand. If you're doing the logo, if you were the one who's doing the logo also, in that case you may keep it already in mind that you might have to extract brand elements from the logo or something that looks similar to the logo. In this case we didn't do the logo, so we have to find stuff that can be extracted from the logo and used as brand elements that can stand on their own. Now the fact that they have a very elaborate logo, a very detailed one with multiple huge ton of elements, is not a simplified logo. In that case it helps with the selection of brand elements. All these are part of the logo in some form. So there's the builder, there's a leaf and the star. Coming to the significance of each, the builder is actually, it's an old symbol. I think it comes from Greek. I'm not completely sure, but most probably it's Greco-Roman, and it means bringing to being. And it's tuned with the brand's tagline like leaves of humility and giving the essence of birth, which is bringing to being. Refers to here is usually associated with womanhood and femininity, and the brand elements in this case also goes well with as a pattern. That's what we did. We also wanted to use the patterns of the brand elements a little more, but unfortunately the client didn't agree to that, and whether you agree or disagree with the client, they do have the final say. I mean, they did hire you, so that's what you did paid for. You can't give it done. Then comes the leaf. The leaf gives a vibe organic feel, since it's a handmade kind of brand. It's not a large manufacturing line. It's everything is handmade. Everything is made by human artisans, like from scratch, except the fabric. Of course, they don't make the fabric. But other than that, the entire design, the stitching, etc., is all done by hand or by artisans. It's not automatic. In that case, the touch of organic feel was a useful brand element to use. Once again, we did a pattern, but we use much later on. And the star comes with the value of the brand, like it's a traditional brand, it's focused on culture, the cultural essence and stuff. So and plus they started out as focusing the clothes on the Islamic customs and all. Although they have moved away from that, but since that's where they started, star has a lot of significance in the Islamic religions, including Islam. So that helps with this. Like it keeps a connection without it being so hard on that, like it feels completely Islam. It has a touch of that, but it's not something like someone who is not a Muslim can also relate to it. They don't feel like out of place, and that's what they're going for. Like they're not a religious pattern. And coming to the pattern that we use for the brand, it's a combination of the logo and the tagline being repeated. As you can see, the pattern we did for the logo and tagline, it's not done in a similar way as the patterns done with elements, because the structure is different and not all patterns works in the same way. How the pattern will look depends on the elements you're using for the pattern, and you have to keep that in mind. Coming to the first element of the packaging as the brand, that's these are the hang tags. It's a fashion brand, so hang tags are the tags that hang from the clothes, as the name suggests. So hang tags, it mainly used for branding and having some information, which is why you'll see they have front, like there are three variations, two rectangular and two circular. Both have a front. This is the front, this is the front, this is the front, and both have a back. The back has some gap in between with a little more details than the front. That's for the size of the cloth, AM, XL, etc. That's something they will be using stickers for later on. Coming to the box of the packaging, this is the box that the clothes will be sold on during delivery or after someone has purchased the clothes itself. As you can see, the pull-out box feels a lot more premium than a pull-up box, the ones regular clothes come in. And since a brand, the feel of premium is important. It's also divided into several layers, like there's the box itself, then there's a wrapping paper, there's a sticker, and you can see the pattern has been used here, and thin lines has been used that gives a premium feel, and there's a foil. The foil is not that noticeable in this mock-up itself, but there will be a foil. And then there's tapes. These are adhesive tapes. This is important for packaging, closing the sales, and it's done in three main colors: the gold, the green, and a white one for other areas. Like the gold and green will be the ones that will be used mostly, but the white one will be for places where the gold and green doesn't go well with. It can happen. You just have to be prepared for every occasion. Since you're doing the packaging once, you're not part of the team, you can make a minor adjustment every time. You just have to plan ahead for things that won't be perfect situations. This is the ribbon and the sticker and the wrapping paper that you saw on the box. The sticker does two things. It helps in sealing things while adding some brand on it. Like you can slap it up on something that you don't have exact packaging for. It make the thing pretty useful. The wrapping paper is for wrapping the clothes. It's not a complete necessity for all fashion brands, but if you are a luxury one, the unboxing feel is very important, because the main thing that luxury sells on is the experience, not the product itself. That's something usually companies do, not luxury. The e-commerce bag. It's the age of internet, and e-commerce is an important sector of every business. And for that, you need delivery bags. And why skip branding on that? That's a part of the unboxing experience for those that's buying from your store online, and hence you have to keep that in mind as well. And you can see we have continued with the pattern, the logo and tagline pattern. There is just two versions of the pattern, like one is in gold, the other one is in green, to make a little contrast, to bring a little variety without being too far away from the rest of the brand. And we are using boxes and thin lines for the information part. That because that gives a bit feel of luxury while having a feel of handmade stuff. It has a handmade kind of feel, and as I say, the products that are made by this brand are made by artisans, not automated. That adds a value that's useful for the brand. Also, coming to what information you need to put, you can actually skip complete information as well, because someone's buying it from your website already, they already know, plus you can add information on the info, the mail you send for confirmation, etc. But you can still put some on the delivery bag as well. That's useful, because someone who just counts the delivery bag can get some idea, like someone who's delivering a bag for someone else also will get some idea of the brand itself, although they haven't ordered it for themselves. So we have put the address, the website, and their social media handle. And there's Made in India logo. Made in India logo is not an absolute necessity. There's no legal requirement for doing that, but it's a good marketing. It's pretty useful from marketing point of view, because they are an Indian brand after all, and with all the local for vocal thing going on, which is something we also support. Like, it makes sense. And you can also, and instead of just putting it as marketing point, you can use it as a design element as well. That's what you're getting hired for, to be smart about information. The shopping bag. Even though they will be having an e-commerce platform, which is under process, I think. I'm not sure where it is at the moment, but they will also be having an offline store. And shopping bag is an important part of the offline shopping experience. And once again, we're continuing with the pattern to have homogeneity. And there's three variations: one with the full pattern, one with just the logo, and one with the logo and a rectangle. To have some variations, to mix and match with the shopper, give them some options in case they want to, and plus it will help you with the stock. thank you cards, as I mentioned, the unboxing experience is more important than the utility sense. It's a luxury brand, and they want to be a little personal by sending thank you cards along with the order someone has placed. Like someone places an order, they get the clothes itself, and with that they will also find a thank you card. It feels a little personal. It makes the audience feel a little good. There are two variations. One is the typed out, and one is somewhere where they will be keeping handwritten notes. The handwritten notes is for collaborations, or if they are gifting to someone special, some marketing stuff, etc. Which also have two different backgrounds, one green and one gold, to make a little bit of difference. One needs you get the point, I guess. Or just cards for the envelope, and of course the envelope itself. Once again, we're using the pattern, but to mix and match, in this case, we're using the pattern inside the envelope. Like once you open up the envelope, you'll find pattern, not the outside. Just luxury envelope. Yeah. These are the business cards. Once again, continue with luxury feel. Once again, we're using the thin lines. The thin line does two things. In the other case, it was just about being premium. In this case, it serves also another purpose. It groups objects together. It helps with your typography of the element. As you can see in the one that's done for the CEO, which is Niga Daman, this is the founder. It helps the rest of the card align with the founder's information, typography. In this case, in the one that's for everyone, the staff, the store manager, etc., there's no information, but here it is, and it aligns better. And even here, these two groups are aligned together with this line. It feels like a single object, it feels more whole, and that's where the lines come handy. These labels. There, we didn't use much creativity for the labels because in this case there are some print limitations. These are printed on fabric and not the kind of fabric you wear in t-shirts. Like you can print very detailed stuff on this kind of fabric, but these are different. These are more widespread, and also printing capabilities are limited here. In that case, there is not much minute stuff, something that can be printed easily. Can't do much here. And that's something you have to keep in mind. You can't just design something that cannot be printed. If it's for packaging, you have to make sure it's something that can be printed easily, that can be reproduced. Or like you can make something awesome and it doesn't even serve the purpose of being printed. What's the point of making something like that? You know, just be a little smart. Letterhead. This is the letterhead, also the invoice. Like this particular mock-up is not the invoice. As you can see, there's some prices in it, but the same stuff will be used for invoicing as well. Here once again we're using the boxes and lines. Here also it's serving the purpose of grouping objects together, and it's continuing with the feel of the packaging. We have used boxes for the packaging, hence we're using here so that it feels more of the same brand. And it also once again helps in grouping objects. Like as you can see, it's just a number and mail ID, here's the address, here's the website. Individually they do not form a similar kind of box. It's half of what this is and this is half of what this is. So like it's 4:2:1. But with the boxes around it, they feel more equal. It's a typography trick. This is the visitor's book. What's a visitor's book, if you ask? It's something a visitor, as the name suggests, fills. Like as I mentioned, they have an offline store as well, and when someone visits the store, this is where they will be placing the information. This is useful in 3 ways. 1, it adds to the experience of the customer. 2, it helps you collect information of customers, and that can be used for sending promotional material to them later on. So it's very useful from a marketing standpoint as well. And third, this can help you get some feedback from the customer that you can use for your next product or some other kind of improvement, something that you might not have noticed yourself. And since you are serving to the customer at the end, the feedback of the customer is very useful and important. And it serves it helps you gather that. Once again, you can see boxes, as I mentioned, the same reason as the other things, to feel of the same brand. Homogeneity, it's important in brand. And this is the brand guide. Now, of course, I can't share the entire brand guide with you. That's a bit, in some parts of it is a little private and all. But what a brand guide does it guides your client about how to use the designs that you have worked so hard on. It also helps them make some minor adjustments, like suppose the number for the business personnel have changed. Now, just for that, it doesn't make sense to them to do the entire design again. They should be able to use the same design and just change the number, but they can fuck it up because you are a designer, they are not. And even if they have designers, they might not be as good as you, which is why you were hired, but they should be able to dash some small change up with them without fucking it up. And this is the thing that will help them do it without fucking it up. And plus, in case they want to add something but they don't want to hire you, this will guide them to do it right. Now you may say, why help them hire someone else when they can hire you again? Well, hiring you again would be great. Like they hiring me again would be great. That's like two projects at the same time, which happens a lot also. It's cool, but you should prioritize being helpful to the client, not trying to take every money you can from them. Being helpful is the best way to do business. It leaves a positive impact on the client for you, and that helps in word of mouth. And plus, in most cases, the client will hire you again anyway because they had a good experience with you and they don't want to try again with someone else, even though you have given them stuff that they can use to get it done by someone else without hiring you. It's the experience, quality, and the relationship, and that relation is improved when you are helpful, not when you are greedy. Just make sure that you are charging enough for that, because you need to be able to sustain yourself, but just you don't have to be very needy to do that. You can sustain yourself by being good and charging. So that's cool. That's all. This is some information you can check the full case study on. This project is live on Behance. I'll link to that in the description below. Plus the link of the full case study on our site. You can go check it out, and hope this helps with your next project. I hope you can find it useful for inspiration, etc. when you if you are a designer, someone into branding, someone looking for guidance, etc. And if you're a company, I hope this helps you make right decisions while doing your branding. Or if you straight away don't want to go through the hassle and hire someone, you can hire us or someone else. It's completely up to you. I'll just add everything you need in the description. So hope to see you again in the next video. We're working on 3 branding projects right now, so those case studies and the Behance projects all will be up soon. So hope to see you there as well. Karen, all the best with soon. So hope to see you there as well. Karen, all the best with your projects, personal, client, whatever it is. Let's hope we all stays above the crowd and as quality goes together. See you in the next video. Till then, matane.